Caitlin Clark went on national TV and said, I want Kelsey back. Damn. That is a big, big statement. Caitlin, blink twice if you okay.
Caitlin Clark went on national TV and said, I want Kelsey back. And listen, that's not just a casual comment you throw out in an interview. That's a statement. That's intentional. When a player like Caitlin Clark, who is already the face of the franchise and arguably the biggest draw in the league right now, speaks that clearly about a teammate, people pay attention. Because this isn't just about preference, it's about direction. It's about chemistry. It's about what she believes gives this team the best chance to win right now. Kelsey Mitchell isn't just any player. She's a proven scorer, a reliable backcourt partner, and someone who complements Caitlin's game in a way that's already been tested on the court. And when Caitlin says she wants her back, that sends a message to the front office. It puts pressure on decision makers. It tells the organization, this is who I trust. This is who I want to build with. That matters more than people realize, especially when you're talking about a team trying to move from potential to contender. It also changes the expectations. Because if you're bringing that core back together, you're not rebuilding anymore. You're competing. You're trying to win now. And when your star player is publicly backing her teammate like that, it creates a sense of urgency. There's no more waiting, no more experimenting. This is about commitment. And with a statement like that, Caitlin Clark just made it clear the clock is already ticking.
Caitlin, you are aware this season is championship or bust. When you decide to bring Kelsey Mitchell back and keep her all season, knowing you guys aren't going to give her a max the following year because you and Aaliyah Boston will be on the maxes, and you can't afford to have 3 max players and court a good team, you're going to get nothing for her, which means you're going all in for this season.
When you bring Kelsey Mitchell back knowing you're not planning to give her a long-term max deal, you're making a very specific kind of decision, and it's a risky one. You're choosing the present over the future. You're saying, we're not worried about what happens 2 or 3 seasons from now. We're focused on right now. That's what going all in looks like. Because let's be real, if you keep a player of her caliber on a short-term deal, there's always the possibility that she walks away later and you get nothing in return. No assets, no trade value, just gone. Teams don't take that risk unless they believe they have a real shot at winning immediately. And that's exactly what this signals. This isn't about development anymore. This isn't about building slowly or figuring things out. This is about chasing a championship right now with the group you have. When you commit to that, the expectations change instantly. There's no room for inconsistency, no patience for growing pains. Every game matters. Every possession matters. Because if it doesn't work, you don't just lose a season. You lose the opportunity to maximize that window entirely. And that's why this becomes championship or bust. No excuses. No waiting for next year. No, we'll figure it out later. You're betting on chemistry, on talent, and on timing all coming together at once. And when you make that kind of bet, you're not playing it safe. You're pushing everything to the center of the table and trusting that this is the moment it all pays off.
Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark together are definitely the best backcourt in the league. So I understand why she wants her. I mean, you do 20+ point per game scores don't just grow on trees. And hopefully Stephanie White will just get out the way and let them play the way that they were playing for Christy Sides post-Olympic break. Post-Olympic break, we had no problem with Kelsey Mitchell. She was lighting it up. Caitlin was lighting it up. It was must-see TV. They were scoring 100+ points damn near every game. It was exciting. It was a great brand of basketball to watch. So
Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell together? That's not just a solid duo. That's arguably the most dangerous backcourt in the entire league. And we've already seen flashes of what they can do when everything clicks. When both of them get going, it's not normal basketball, it's explosive. The pace picks up, the scoring jumps, and suddenly every possession feels like it could turn into something big. You're talking about 2 players who can create their own shots, stretch the floor, and put constant pressure on defenses from anywhere on the court. And the chemistry? That's what really makes it work. Kelsey's ability to score takes pressure off Caitlin, while Caitlin's vision and playmaking make the game easier for everyone around her. It becomes a rhythm, fast, aggressive, and hard to stop. We saw it after the Olympic break last season. They were lighting teams up, pushing tempo, and turning games into must-watch moments. It wasn't just effective, it was entertaining. Fans showed up for it. The energy was different. That's why this matters. Because when those two are locked in together, you're not just watching a game, you're watching a show.
She said that LeBron's her GOAT, and she spoke about her capturing photos during the Lakers and Pacers game. Let's take a listen to that.
All my pictures of LeBron I took. Did you guys see them?
I saw because he reposted them, girl.
Absolutely.
I saw them. Oh, there it is. Look.
Yeah. Those weren't too bad. That was my greatest shot.
That's your
greatest shot right there.
Wait a minute. Every
That's not too
artist
bad. I need to
names
print it
their
out, get him to
masterpiece.
sign it for me.
Every artist names it. What's the name of it?
The King. I mean, that's my GOAT, honestly. So.
You know what's cool about this for you? And Ken Griffey's doing it.
When Caitlin Clark says LeBron James is her GOAT and calls Nikola Jokic the best player in the world right now, that might sound like a simple opinion, but it actually reveals something much bigger about where she stands in the basketball world. Because this isn't just a WNBA star talking about her own league. This is someone who is fully plugged into the entire basketball ecosystem. She's studying the game at the highest level, watching the best players in the world, and understanding what greatness looks like across leagues, styles, and eras. That matters. It shows that her mindset isn't limited. She's not operating inside a bubble. She's thinking bigger, global, not local. And when a player has that kind of perspective, it changes how they approach their own game. You're not just trying to dominate your league. You're trying to reach a standard that exists at the very top of the sport, period. And let's be real. Bringing up names like LeBron and Jokic instantly connects her to a much larger audience. Those are two of the most respected and recognizable players in basketball history. When she speaks on them, fans from outside the WNBA start paying attention. It bridges the gap between leagues and pulls more eyes toward her and the game she's playing. That's how influence grows. It also shows confidence. Because when you're comfortable enough to speak on the biggest names in the sport, it means you believe you belong in those conversations, even if you're not saying it directly. There's an understanding there, a presence. And this is exactly how stars expand beyond their league. They become part of the overall basketball conversation, not just a segment of it. You can already see it happening. More crossover attention, more comparisons, more discussions that include her name alongside players from completely different leagues. That's rare, and it doesn't happen by accident. It happens when a player's impact forces people to pay attention. And that's the key here. This isn't just about what she said. It's about what it represents. It represents reach. It represents awareness. It represents a player who understands the magnitude of the platform she's stepping into. Because once you start getting mentioned in the same breath as global stars, even indirectly, you're no longer just a rising player in your league. You're becoming part of the bigger story of basketball itself. And that's where things start to change. The expectations get higher. The spotlight gets brighter. The conversations get louder. But at the same time, the opportunities grow. More fans, more exposure, more influence. So when Caitlin Clark casually names her GOAT and calls out who she thinks is the best in the world, it's more than just basketball talk. It's a reminder. She's not just part of the moment. She's becoming part of the global stage. When Caitlin Clark says LeBron James is her GOAT and calls Nikola Jokic the best player in the world right now, that might seem like a simple opinion, but it actually reveals something much deeper about where she stands in the game of basketball. Because this isn't just a player giving props. This is a mindset. It shows that Caitlin Clark isn't thinking small. She's not locked into just one league, one style, or one level of competition. She's studying the game at its absolute peak. She's watching greatness, analyzing greatness, and understanding what separates the best from everyone else. And that's important, because players who reach that next level, the ones who truly change the game, they don't just dominate where they are. They measure themselves against the highest standard possible. They look at players like LeBron, who has defined an era, and Jokic, who is redefining how the game is played, and they take pieces of that greatness into their own approach. That's how evolution happens. And when Caitlin Clark speaks on those names, it instantly connects her to a global basketball audience. Because now, you're not just talking about the WNBA anymore. You're talking about basketball as a whole. Fans who follow the NBA hear that, and suddenly, they're paying attention. They're curious. They're watching. That's how influence expands beyond a league. Because let's be honest, there aren't many players who can bridge that gap. There aren't many players who can step into conversations that include LeBron James and Nikola Jokic and actually feel like they belong there. But Caitlin Clark is doing exactly that. And it's not forced. It's natural. It comes from how she plays, how she carries herself, and how she understands the game. There's a confidence there, not loud, not arrogant, but real. The kind that says, I know what I'm watching, and I know where I stand. And that confidence matters, because it changes perception. Now, instead of being seen as just a rising star in the WNBA, she starts being viewed as part of the bigger basketball conversation. Analysts talk about her differently. Fans compare her differently. The spotlight gets bigger. And with that spotlight comes something even more important: expectation. Because when you start being mentioned alongside global stars, even indirectly, the standard rises. People expect more. They watch more closely. Every performance carries more weight. But here's the thing: that pressure is also opportunity. It means more exposure, more attention, more eyes on the league, more people tuning in who may not have been watching before. And when that happens, it doesn't just benefit one player, it lifts everything around them. That's how one player can shift an entire ecosystem. And we're already seeing it. More crossover conversations, more comparisons between leagues, more recognition from players, media, and fans across the basketball world. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens when someone's impact becomes impossible to ignore. And Caitlin Clark's impact right now, it's impossible to ignore. So when she casually says LeBron is her GOAT and Jokic is the best in the world, it's not just a comment. It's a signal. A signal that she's thinking bigger. A signal that she understands the level she's aiming for. And a signal that she's stepping into a space that very few players ever reach. Because once you become part of that global basketball conversation, everything changes. You're no longer just playing in games. You're shaping narratives. You're not just part of the league. You're influencing it. And you're not just having a moment. You're building something that lasts. And that's the bigger picture here. This isn't just about highlights. It's not just about sold-out arenas or rising ticket prices. It's about a player who is expanding the reach of the game itself, bringing new eyes, new energy, and new expectations into the WNBA. Because when someone like Caitlin Clark starts moving like this, the entire league feels it. So now the question becomes, how far can this go? Because if this momentum keeps building, we're not just looking at a breakout star. We're looking at someone who could redefine what success looks like in women's basketball. And honestly, we might just be watching the beginning of something much bigger. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think. Is this the start of a new era?